Hey everybody, my name is Chris, and I'm an app developer here at Appward, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about ScreenText. ScreenText is one of the most useful and most common icons that we use in Appward. Us app developers use it all the time in pretty much all of our apps. And what ScreenText is it's a text box. And within Appward, you can use the information that's typed into that text box to manipulate other various values throughout your app, whether it be the display value of a label or some other value inside one of your data tables or what have you. Today I'm going to be going over the basics of how to use ScreenText and show you some simple examples of how you can tie the value of a ScreenText to other various icons within your app. So, all that being said, get your apps ready and let's get started. Okay, so here we are in Appward. As you can see, I've got a little demo app for us to play with. I will use this to show you guys how ScreenText works and different ways that you can use it to manipulate various parts of your app. But first, I want to show you guys how we use ScreenText currently in various apps within Appward. So I'll move this over here for now. And I'll open an app, let's say Special Events. And I will pretend to add a special event here. I'll just select type for now. And all of these fields here, so special event title, location instructions, calendar, all of these are all screen texts. As you can see, some screen texts also have icons on them, and you can click on those icons to do various actions. I'm not going to go over this functionality in this video, but there will definitely be another video that explains how this works. This icon right here is a little bit different. This is screen HTML. This allows text that's typed in here to be stylized. So I could bold parts of it, italicize others. Standard stuff like that. That functionality cannot be accomplished with screen text. So the text that's entered in here is going to be plain text only. This is one example of how screen texts are used. If I open another app, let's say deliveries, and I'll open one of these up. These are also screen texts as well. So they're used in a number of different apps in a number of different ways. Okay, great. Now that you've seen that, let me close these out. And I will pull up my demo app here, and we're going to go into screen design. So first and foremost, how do you add a screen text to the screen? Well, you click on this little screen text icon here, and you click on your screen. It is as simple as that. And there is your screen text. And as you can see, that's reflected here in our screen editor. This object here is titled text3. And that's simple as that. Screen texts have a couple of really basic properties. So left and top indicate its position on the screen. So if I move these around, you can see that the positioning has changed, as well as height and width. As you can see, the height and width changed. And one last important one is multi-line here. If I set this to true, this will allow me to type more than one line into a particular text box. I'll go into this in a little bit more detail in a little bit. For now, I'll leave this one false. And finally, perhaps the most important property of a screen text is its value. This is the value that is entered inside of a screen text. I'm going to get rid of this one for now, as this was just for demonstration purposes, and I will move up to my first screen text here. As you can see, this value is blank. If I enter in hello world, now you can see the value in here has been reflected. Oh, I'm going to leave it blank for now, and I will exit screen design. If I type in this screen text, hello, 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 the value property of this screen text is being changed. So, if I want to affect other screen icons based on the value of this screen text, all I have to do, let's say I want this label to reflect the value that is in here. Well, I'll click on the label icon, and I'll change its value to point to the value of this text object. So I'll type in here my parent, referring to its parent screen dot text referring to the object text box slash value and enter. As you can see, now this label is blank because the value of the text box is blank. So if I exit screen design and I start typing in here, hello, and I press enter, boom. Now this value is reflecting the value that is inside of this text box. And it is as simple as that bind. Now, there are other cases where you might not want a direct bind between, let's say, a label and the text box. This next step is an example of how I might want this label to display the value in this text box a little bit later. The functionality that I want to be able to click this update text button and have the value in the text box or in the label change. Currently, the way I have this set up is I have this label pointing to the value of a variable, var variable. This variable is this object right here. So if I click here, as you can see, its value is text, and that value is represented here. So now what I want to happen is I want to click update text, and I want the value of this label to change to reflect this ScreenText object. And the best way to do that is, well, when I click the button, I want to change the value of var variable to the value of this ScreenText. So I'll go into the onClick script of my button, or after click, excuse me, and I'll say my parent.var variable slash value equals my parent.text1, because that is the name of this text box. As you can see, it's highlighted. text1 slash value. Great. Now, I got to make sure to send that to the client. So I'll click Control-Shift-S, and now it's being sent to the client. So I'll save it, compile it, and now I will exit. Upon first load, the value of this still says text because the value inside of that variable was text in my screen editor. But now if I change this, hello, and I press enter, oops, nothing will happen yet. But if I click update text, which will change the value of that variable, as you can see, now the value of this screen text has changed. Now finally, each text box also has quick scripts. OnChange happens every time that the value inside of the text box has changed and that change has been registered. OnDirty happens when the previous value gets changed on a key press. OnKeyDown is the one that we are focused on today. This happens every time that I press down on a key inside of a text box. In other words, every time I type, OnKeyDown will get triggered. Now, what I want to happen is I want the value of this label to change as I am typing in here. So I'll go into my OnKeyDown quick script, and I already have it in here. What I'm doing here is I am changing the value of our label here, label 2, to the new value that is being entered after my key has been pressed. And then I'm sending that value to the client. So if I exit here, we can see as I type, the value of my label is changing as the value of my text box changes. Awesome. So now these are various ways that you can use the value that is inside of a screen text to then manipulate your app. This case where you click a button might be useful when you're in the process of creating an ad screen. Let's say you only want the information to be updated once you click submit. That's an example of how that might work. In a case like this might be useful when you want to tell the user that they are in fact making changes to some data that exists somewhere else. One other thing that I forgot to mention here, as you saw me do when I typed in here, I could press enter, and every time I press enter, a new line was created. That's because in this particular text box, I have multi-line set to true. So, with all that being said, I hope now you have a better understanding of the basics of screen texts and the context in which you use them. As you can see, they're a pretty powerful tool, and with just a couple of lines of code, we were really able to accomplish a lot. as you saw, there's a really long list of properties there. So if you really want to get into the weeds with ScreenText, or in general, if you're just curious about other parts of Appward and how they work, please feel free to visit our website, appward.com, or check out some other videos on our YouTube channel. I hope you learned something today, and I hope that I helped with you creating your own apps, and thank you very much for watching.